What up, y'all? Friday morning in America. Dave, Neverett, Teresa, Leanne, Outposts, wife, Ronnie. What up, y'all? Whew. It is a moist and wet Friday morning. Rained last night. We have a special guest joining us today, I do believe. As long as the link works. If the link does not work, then we will shut this bitch down and start a new one and try again. Technically, I'm about 5 minutes early, but it is what it is. Nana. Tonight we're supposed to be below freezing, so frost night tonight, especially with everything being fucking soaked. Got to bring everything in tonight. My ladies were looking a little bit thirsty, but they're all right. They'll make it. So I got to bring my seeds in later on so they don't fucking freeze. Other than that, I think we're doing pretty not bad. Edward, what up? To all the YouTube creators and future wannabe YouTube creators, there's some weird shit going around on the internets right now, to where they are suing the social media companies. Anybody paying attention to that? Will your ladies be all right in the greenhouse? I would still cover them with something. You know what I mean? Eric Miller, what up? So yeah, there has been Pilgrim just sent me a deal. Just like literally 2 minutes ago about it. I had a deal pop up on my screen the other day about it on my YouTube page. So apparently, finally, yes, fucking awesome. They are age restricting who gets on the interwebs. So if you have a channel, or if you have a child that has a channel, which you shouldn't, you now have to go through and redo your shit. And anybody under the age of 16 has to have a parent's permission to create a YouTube channel. And there's going to be all kinds of new stuff when it comes to the algorithm, AI censorship, shadow banning, and demonetization. They're going stupid crazy on that because they're still trying to fight the government. Guardian, what up?
Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Looking like a
You doing all
goddamn
right?
crocodile wrestler up here. What you got going on, man?
I'm good, bro. It's yeah, I appreciate you making the time this morning on your end as well, just to have a bit of a catch up and yeah, have a bit of a chat around one of my favorite topics.
Hell yeah. We're just getting started. We're just kind of letting people fill in. I'm giving the new updates on the YouTube that will probably be happening here pretty soon. So
Perfect.
New AI community standards monitoring. So if you are an edgy channel like me that says all kinds of random shit, you're probably going to get hit in the next couple weeks because YouTube's being a bitch. Instead of just saying, okay, we're a publisher or we're a platform, they can't make up their mind. They want the best of both worlds. So the government is forcing them to choose, and we are going to be the ones that pay for it. So just a heads up, y'all.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they are doing it now, and I'm not surprised that that's exactly the avenue that they're taking. Kind of the whole George Orwellian thing, right? We're heading there.
Oh, 33 people, 12 thumbs. The communism is strong with you people this morning. Guardian Gardening. Drop his link, somebody, please. It might not work on the vertical, but god damn it, y'all better be subscribed to this, man.
Yeah, bro, there's so much crazy shit going on right now, right? Like all across the world as well, dude. Like we are heading towards some interesting shit potentially ahead of us, in terms of like the crude oil price and shit like that as well.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything yet as far as all the shit that's happened over the last couple of years that's shocked and pissed everybody off. I don't think we've even seen a fraction of how bad this shit's gonna get. So
yeah, it could, the way that I don't mean to be off topic about the whole Iran situation, but it definitely is quite relevant to everything right now, specifically with growing your own shit, right?
Right. That's yeah. If they control your food, they control you. The best way to beat the system, beat the internet, beat the government, beat whoever. Don't let them control your fucking food. Will they let old posts? They removed a couple of my. I don't know. Old posts don't really matter. Native had a video that was over a year old, and they came back and got him with a strike on it, and he got timed out for 2 weeks because of an over a year old video. So there's no timeline on old shit or new shit. It doesn't matter to the algorithm. It's all content. You know what I mean?
So regarding that, I've had to, for the most part, keep a lot of what I do online. In fact, now at this present moment, all of my content's off, and in private because of how severe things could get in the immediate future. And I'm not just, I'm not basically spreading doom and gloom in that. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just being realistic, by kind of displaying everything that I do in terms of self-reliance, in terms of gardening and permaculture and everything like that as well. I'm just painting a big old target on my family's back, just by having, a lot of open content right now because of where we're situated. South Africa is absolutely a powder keg when it comes to this environment as well, because our economy is already extremely messed up. We've got like the second highest unemployment across the country in the world. So you've got a lot of people that are on the verge of just losing their shit and just going all out and causing mayhem. In fact, we experienced something similar to that just a couple of years back, and it could get worse really quickly.
Right. What up, all y'all? JoJo, all y'all, everybody in chat, live chat. 4 rules in this chat: do not be a sexual deviant. No racist shit. Do not spam the chat and be over 18. We are talking about plants today because America and Africa. But yeah.
Nah, you can consider me America, bro.
America 2.0.
Yeah, if you had to hold a gun to my head, I'd tell you immediately who I'd support in a lot of ways, bro. And I'm right there with you guys. And there's a long explanation as to why I stand with the US the way that I do. And I don't give a damn that like people might not understand that, but it really does come down to freedom and what that really means.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
all
bro,
right.
so
Let's get in.
If you want to,
what you got going in the garden? First of all, what season are you in right now? This man is on the continent of Africa, so our grow seasons are different. He's got that perfect fucking tropical weather year round, some bitch. While we're stuck over here freezing.
Yeah, it is quite lucky that we have the kind of subtropical climates all year round as well. So for growing things specifically, we have a vast amount of species that we can grow, but there is also the things that we struggle with that you guys grow really well. So it just depends on specifically like what your indigenous plants look like. And if I can just take a minute real quick and explain to you where it all comes from, right? Where my enthusiasm is for it. Can I do that quick?
Of course.
So we over here in South Africa, like the economy hasn't been great for a long time, and we've had a lot of like struggles when it comes to being self-reliant and sustaining the country in many ways. And when I was a lot younger, my grandfather actually was very much an avid gardener. We had mulberry trees and we had a couple of figs. We had a few pawpaw, so papaya basically. So for the most part, what happened was growing up around that, I definitely understood the significance of just being able to grow your own food, your own like fruits and vegetables and that. But I had kind of left that alone for about a decade. When I was about 20, from the age of like 20 to 30, I took it a lot slower when it came to gardening. And what happened was that I was busy working in a pharmacy and doing pharmaceuticals. I was counting tablets, which is one of the most mundane, repetitive things that you can ever find yourself doing, right? And because of doing that, I brought in like a small little cube and had like a little couple of succulent plants growing in that cube, just because I wanted to try and make the environment or immediate environment around me as engaging as possible, because I was going to be there for a while as well, doing the work that I was doing. So put in these succulents, and just over like months and months of just watching them grow, I really felt that connection again that I had in my childhood. So I started up a small garden, and this was maybe I'd say about a decade to 15 years ago. I started up a small garden again and started implementing some of like the indigenous edible perennial species. So the plants that are usually like beneficial for people, even like herbaceous plants, fruit trees, a lot of annuals. So like your crops, like your potatoes, your carrots, lettuce, things like that, your basic food. And I only really discovered permaculture, I'd say about 10 years ago, where I found out that you can pretty much, if you use and copy the same laws of nature and implement them within your garden using proper mulching, so thick dead leaves like over and around all your like fruit trees specifically, and you implement things like comfrey plant, which is a really good plant for having natural fertilizer. So essentially what happens is you start to understand the principles that make the wilderness as lush as it really is. And if you start implementing them in a backyard orchard type of environment, like over there on your side as well at your homestead hutch, like it actually, when you start to follow certain things like that, you'll be surprised with just how quickly you can start like getting self-reliant in that way. And there's that whole statement, and I'll finish with this quickly here. There's that whole statement that, the best time to plant a tree was 5 years ago. The second best time is right now. So just understanding like that, even if shit doesn't really go down too badly with the Iran-US current situation, which it may very well, you still need to like just preemptively make sure that you are growing enough food for the people that you care about. Because
Oh, you're back.
I dropped there for a second.
Yep, you for about a half a second you disappeared.
Sorry about that, bro. But yeah, sorry to ramble, but there's just so much.
Oh, you're good, man. That's the whole
I'm passionate about in this field.
The best part about having you on is that I appreciate listening, and I don't have to talk because I'm half retarded, so it works out perfectly. Right. So yeah, you brought up comfrey yesterday. Oh, my bad. Yesterday I literally screenshotted comfrey, so I wouldn't remember what the name is, or wouldn't forget what the name is. But yeah, I was going down the rabbit hole of forever. This is 26 is the year of forever planning. One of the long term planning. Forever plants is what I'm focusing on this year. The moringa, the sweet potatoes, the asparagus,
Yeah.
things like that. Forever plants. And I came across comfrey in one of my videos that I was going through. Like it impressed me so much that I screenshotted the name of it, the whole little description of it, so I wouldn't forget later on when I go back and try to order some. But yeah, apparently comfrey is native to Missouri. It's native to a lot of places over here in America, and it's allegedly it makes the perfect compost tea. It is like a perfect all around plant that will literally save your entire garden on fertilizer, because it itself is the best fertilizer. One of those kind of things.
It really is, and it's an incredible bioaccumulator because the root of the comfrey plant goes down a lot deeper than a lot of regular other plants. You'll find that for the fruit trees, a lot of their root stocks stay relatively compact compared to some of the ornamental trees as well. So for the most part, when it comes to comfrey, what that's really doing is it's obviously getting up all of those nutrients, and then as you do it as a chop and drop, or you make that fertilizer that you're talking about, that's brilliant stuff right there. And like if you have the capability to just also be mindful about which trees you're planting, because there's several legume species. So like your trees that are in the bean family that are extremely good at being bioaccumulators. So what you would essentially try and do is, even though you're planting several of those fruit trees, you want to try and get some of the legumes in as well that do well in your region, some of the indigenous legumes. There are mosquitoes
Right.
everywhere here. That's the only problem about Africa, right? We got a lot of mosquitoes. So like the whole idea behind that is making sure that several of the bioaccumulator large trees are growing amongst the fruit trees, because, and also preferably the bioaccumulator legumes that have shaded and spotted shading, because what that's going to provide for you as well is it's a good amount of shade. I mean, fruit trees need as much sun as they can to get as sweet of a fruit as possible, but your bioaccumulators are going to help you immensely in terms of just making sure that you get that free fertilizer from other tree species around you.
Oh yeah, yeah. The one of the main things I'm focusing on this year is bringing in plants to replace the weeds in my pasture and things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm going with a lot of stuff that has at least like a 30-foot tap root kind of thing, because we got clay soil. So
Yeah.
not only am I looking for longevity and forever plants, but I'm looking for a specific type that will have at least a 30-foot tap root. That way I can start breaking up that soil and getting down deeper than it's supposed to be. Because like you were saying, most tree roots only go down about 2-3 foot, the main tap root, and then everything
Yeah.
kind of spreads sideways. You
Exactly.
know, so if you can get down farther than the root of whatever it is that you're doing, then you're just literally creating a sponge to hold moisture and allow life and critters and all kinds of other shit to go through and just improve your soil. So long roots is a must for me this year.
There's also a good amount of utility in hugelkultur. So implementing logs throughout your food forest as well, and also working in a kind of a principle of working in guild by guild. So in permaculture, I picked up the terminology guild within the last several years, basically having a grouping of plants that really assist one another. And similar to, everybody knows the principle of the three sisters, where you got your squash, your corn, and then your beans.
Right.
So everybody's like familiar with the three sisters principle, and it's almost the same type of concept where you have set amounts of, you could say about, I don't want to like misjudge the amount of space that a person has either, but like you just basically work guild by guild, bro.
Right. As of now, it's only been about a week or so since I put the seeds in. I've got snap peas, dragon's tongue beans, and sunflowers are the only thing that I've got popped. But the main thing that I'm waiting on is I've got 4 moringa and a sage going, and that's what I am actually looking forward to the most.
That moringa is such a superfood, bro. Like that moringa, like there's a reason why all of the like dietitians and a lot of the people that are heavily into health all recommend moringa tablets. And if you can grow it from home, you are going to, it can be a bit of a struggle. I've tried like 4 times to grow moringa before I actually grew my moringa.
My thing is I'm going to have to do it in a container because we don't have the winters to let it stay outside, but that's okay. I went down the rabbit hole and yeah, moringa, if you've got the drive, you can make some stupid money off moringa, because those
Yep.
the yuppies and the yoga freaks and all the the health food store places, they buy that shit like crazy.
Because of the research that's done behind it, bro. It's true. Yes, that's exactly the size of like your general guild. So having like a main primary fruit tree in that with a couple of blackberries, or depending on what grows, blueberries as well, whichever grows really well in your area, and you have like one of the central trees in the center of that, that's perfect, bro.
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Well, see, this one is going to be this is going to be my forever asparagus right here.
Yeah.
This is a fig tree. That's going to be an apple tree, fig tree, apple tree, my maples, and I'm going to put others over that way, but my beans are going right there. But this is the, I've been working on the hergiculture for about a week or two now, getting everything set up. So these are good to go. But I do need to put a little bit of dirt on top just to kind of compact them and, you know, get some dirt mixed in. I probably won't be
That's
growing
good.
in these this year just so they can settle. But yeah, I'm going stupid on the hergiculture this year.
So good to do that. That's the best way that you can get natural organic biomass into the soil, and your nutrient level obviously rises quite quickly. So, like, just being able to have that type of setup already, that you've got the thinking like aced there, bro. Like, that's exactly what you should be doing.
I know it's one of those things like a fruit tree. I should have done it years ago, but you know, clearing and building land, you get to it when you get to it. But I got one that is sitting on top of the ground, and then I've got one that's dug into the ground about 2 foot. I said I'm still
Right.
going to make at least 3 more. I'm just not exactly sure where yet.
Just the idea behind the fact that you're making like everybody wants fresh fruit growing in their garden, but nobody really wants to put in like the work. And what you've already done is done like the work to actually install like a space that's going to be conducive to them growing healthy, you know. And that's the whole idea behind what we're kind of trying to promote, well, myself specifically in our area locally, is for people to look at more edible perennial species. So perennial species where you don't need to go and plant it like every single year, like annuals, obviously. And just that setup that you've got there, like you'll be so happy like as you grow it. It really grows like coincidentally, like it actually starts to, you know, really take a hold of you, the gardening. And if you actually do it properly, when things get really tough, you always have that as a backup. Like there are so many ways to just there's so much to learn, man. There is so much to learn. And it's just not even just the gardening in your own garden, but learning and understanding plants in your local region. Because if things do get like really messed up overnight, then you've got the capability to at least forage where you need to as well. So having the principles installed, like then having like that basic setup of a food forest, it's absolutely amazing what you can like discover as well over time and how much it benefits you. And there's nothing as delicious as picking a fruit directly from a tree that you're growing and having it like within the several minutes after it's been picked. It's got a different taste, brother. Like it's you're going to
That's
see
what
in
the
time as well.
earliest childhood memory at my grandma's house. She had a massive apple tree in the yard. You know, well, for a child, it was a massive fucking tree.
Yeah.
Every day getting off the bus, walk by the tree, grab an apple, eat it on the way. You know what I mean? You can't fucking
Yeah.
beat that.
Not either. And I think that we need to look at ways like that a lot more. We have become extremely reliant on society to protect us and to look after us. And when you start making steps like that, that is what potentially what the future could look like in terms of us being able to actually stay healthy and have a good amount of nutrition as well.
Right.
I'd actually be able to take you through some of the garden now, but I am a bit cautious, and I hope that it switches to mobile data instead of Wi-Fi, because I will leave Wi-Fi range. So if I glitch out for a moment, I apologize.
We'll find out together. Do you have any comfrey currently in your yard right now? Somebody asked what comfrey looks like. I don't have any. And full robot. And he gone.
Am I there at the moment?
Your picture's back. Say something.
Am I back, bro?
Your picture's back. Say something. Nope, we got to echo. You're gonna have
Can
to
you guys
jump
see
out
me?
and come
Can you
back.
see
Nope,
me?
we got to echo. You're gonna have to jump out and come back.
All right, give me a second. I'll try that out.
That's right. Double feet on the screen. That's how we get down. And we're back. Yep, you're good. 5x5.
Yeah. So before even going through this tour for you guys and showing you what I've got set up here, I'll do the last hour and a half of turning all of this from a straight garden lawn into what it is now. I'll show you guys the moringas as well. I'll show you guys what I've got going. But when you see like a bit more and understand what I'm trying to accomplish here in terms of a survival garden, I never want my kids to look at me and ask me, what are we eating tonight, and have nothing for them. I refuse to be that guy. And basically, everything that, to explain in detail, everything that I've got here would take a lot longer than just a quick tour. So to start off and give you guys like a proper VIP kind of tour around here. So this is the entrance, right? Almost everything's copied from like organic means. I try to implement as much as I possibly can to make it like a little bit aesthetically pleasing to a degree. And this is very like very like almost ratchet, you could call it, the way that this is set up. I don't give a shit about that. Like it's more about like enjoying the plants and enjoying the environment. But this is the entryway, and I just recently planted some radishes in on the side over here. This is very small. This is also mugwort that you can control your dreams if you sleep with mugwort next to you. When you dream at night. Yeah, it's so sick, dude. I love it. And then over here, I'll show you that the entryway to the food forest. So all throughout my food forest, I've got bark chip layered all the way through, right? And the bark chipping also makes sure that the soil stays extremely nutritious. And so this is like a first point of view. Look at all these passion fruits growing over here. There are plenty of passion fruits growing all crazy over here, bro. And then I've got a macadamia tree for macadamia nuts. I have a second macadamia on this end with a peach tree behind this. So the idea is because for the family, I've got a peach tree over there, another one, and then another peach tree coming up that side. So basically this is like, it's going to be pink blooms for the family when they walk through here, because, you know, just like making it enjoyable for them too. And then over here, I took a bench, an old bed, and I converted it into a bed as well. I chopped up some of the wood on that end, put in the pillars and repurposed things. I'm always looking at ways to repurpose things as well. Put a fresh coat of white paint on it, outdoor paint, so it stays close to the object and doesn't leak into the ground. And over here, I've got my pineapple farm. So these are pineapples that went and fetched one morning on one of my workouts. There's an immense amount of them growing over here too. And then I've got globe artichoke on this side. So globe artichoke in the corner. I've got a new mulberry coming up on that end. And then another mulberry, small one.
Globe artichoke is on my list too.
Dude, once you have globe artichoke in, you're sorted, man. Like once it'll just keep coming back year after year.
It will be.
You hear those alarms? So that is a house alarm that is going off on that end. Unfortunately, we've got pretty quick response, but yeah, it's one of those sounds that's definitely an ambient background noise for South Africa. We've always got crazy amounts of like sirens going on quite often and shit like that. It's bad, bro. But anyway, so just back to the part. Yeah, so over here, I've got a beam. Exactly. I've got a beam that I use for my pull-ups on this end as well. So basically making the garden functional as well as useful. My kids have an awesome slide that's going through that side as well. You start to see the setup and the way that that's done. So basically you come around the corner there and there's also like a swing for them. So there's like a small swing setup. So that basically getting them into the garden and enjoying like just being. So as I said, if I had to explain every one of these plants, it's going to take me a while. So the peaches are over there. Then I've got pawpaw in the center on this side. I'll keep it entertaining for the chat that's watching as well. This is a crossberry plant. Then I've got a guava coming up on this end with comfrey. So this is my comfrey plant. And I've got tons of comfrey growing everywhere. I have comfrey over there, some more comfrey on that side, more comfrey down there. Like you just start seeing like how much comfrey I've got everywhere for chop and drop.
Your yard is the fucking shit, dude. That thing is so fucking badass. It's like walking through Jurassic Park. If I was a kid,
that's what the idea is.
Perfect. You know what I mean? That's fucking perfect, man. Hell yeah. Look at that. Herbs and things.
Yeah, bro. And then I've got a pistachio nut. This is a male pistachio and a female pistachio that's growing behind you. I have a coffee Arabica, so coffee. Then I've got grapes growing over there. I've got passion fruit coming along this side. I've got more grapes on this end over here as well. Down at the bottom, I've got a leaf. I've got a coral tree because it's a bioaccumulator, because it extracts all those nutrients, and through the mycelium, the fungal network through the garden, it basically shares and distributes that deeper layer nutrition out of that and then into like the surrounding plants as well, because they're able to communicate like that. It's amazing. Then I've got my apricot tree over there. This is apricot, new growth coming up this side, even though it's late in summer, winter's approaching. There's another crossberry. This is a nectarine. There is a plum growing on that end. Now, mind you, I do understand also two tamarillos. I do understand the principle that you need to keep like certain plants and certain trees like away from each other, which is why the pathing is designed in the way that it is, so that it's just abundance amount of growth that's coming up here as well. More peppers at the bottom. Like there is, people asked about the moringa. Here's two moringas, but I'll show you my pride and joy moringas growing as well. Here's a pomegranate tree. Nasturtium growing everywhere around. I'll show you a segment where the nasturtium is growing super strong. Little side note that I can tell you guys about is there's a carob tree. So carobs need a male and a female to produce the actual carob themselves. But this is one carob, two carob, three carob over there, which is a substitute for chocolate. That's a lot healthier for people than chocolate is. Then I've got my moringas. These are my pride and joy moringas. The heart is doing really well too. So you can see how the moringa's growing here very nicely, bro. The moringas, I've got two big moringas there. Then I've got banana on this end, a fig growing down that side with oreganum at the bottom, and my lychee small. I just planted lychee trees, lychee seeds, and hoped that they would grow. And now I've got small, like 8 lychee trees that I need to redistribute throughout the garden. Over here on this end, you can see that I've put in vines and wire. This is actually paracord for my survivalism mindset. I got paracord for days, and this paracord is actually stringing all the way through to that branch over there where I'm using a dead tree as an anchorage for this cordage as well. And then the passion fruit is crawling all along that side. Then I've got another passion fruit crawling along this stick over here, just putting a dead stick down, and you allow it to crawl along that, to creep along that side. Then I've got my grapefruit vine, which the kids slide underneath, and they can slide down there. And then there's sweet Elysium, which is actually an extremely relaxing scent that designed specifically that when they get to the bottom of the slide, just to be around that like good scented smell all the time. Also a super good pollinator, and it's an edible perennial, sweet Elysium, really good flower, really good plant. And then I know that I'm like rambling here, bro.
Keep doing it.
Underneath the slide, so that when this starts giving in, when this wood starts giving in, the olive tree will actually reinforce the structural design to the slide. And then this section that we're in right now is actually called the Citrus Avenue, where I have all types of citrus, bro. I have got a lime on this end, then I got a lemon, then I got a naartjie, another naartjie, which is a very interesting sweet citrus. Then I've got kalimdar, which is like a specific variegated type of citrus on that end. I've got Kai apple, which is also a high producer on both ends. One, 2, 3, 4 Kai apples. And then this is my little finger bananas as well. Bananas are great because as you start producing, you just take and you plant new banana trees. So like banana also is something really interesting in a survival element. Banana you can eat pretty much every day without it posing a big risk to your health. So get bananas, get bananas about bananas, bro. I know how lame that is, but get that shit going, dude. And then over here, we've got a substitute for protein, which is called amaranth. If we need any sort of flour, amaranth produces its own type of flour as well. So it's really, really good plant to have in your food forest.
Amaranth is
on this end,
next on my list. The next big purchase I get is going to be amaranth, because I went down the rabbit hole of how the Mayans and the Aztecs used to use amaranth for almost every fucking thing. And I've just been growing up. Amaranth to me was just a flower that my grandma would put in her flower bed every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I love it, bro. As soon as you start growing it more, it also like starts to become almost a perennial where it just stays in the garden as well. It self-seeds so that it just brings up more and more amaranth. And that's one of the most amazing things about like the whole gardening, right? Once you start implementing some of the species, they really do like stick around. So then you're getting the benefit of the edible perennials. What you see over here, you'll be familiar with. This is nasturtium. The reason why I'm growing nasturtium is not just because edible leaf. Almost everything in this food forest is edible, not just because it's an edible leaf, but because it acts extremely well as a trap crop. So as the ants would usually come and like give these apple trees a lot of problems. These apple trees, you can see that there's already a little bit of the aphids that are causing there to be some honeydew, and then the ants go and farm it. But if you've got the nasturtium around here, they usually farm on the nasturtiums because it's lower to them and it's easier for them to get to, and they'll wipe out all of these nasturtiums over a season. And basically nasturtiums are so good at self kind of pollinating that they'll just come right back up, getting ready for like the next kind of set as well. So next season that's coming up. So nasturtiums that I put in here, full on like super osteosperm. The reason is to the apple trees. So having them around the apple trees means that the apple trees are consistently going to be producing as well for us. And yeah, bro, this is a very small amount of compact space that we're using here, but you're able to grow an immense amount of it if you just put the time in, and also if you understand the way that your angling of the sun is. So when you look at the way that the sun's trajectory is over the garden, you also need to understand that pathing needs to be designed in a very similar way as well, where for the most part, a lot of your fruit trees are also gaining a good amount of access to the like direct sunlight as well, because the better sunlight that you have, the better growth that you'll have as well. You also need to make sure that you prune correctly. So pruning your fruit trees at the end of the winter season, just before the spring starts as well, can be a really good thing, because you want to make sure that your fruit trees are manageable, specifically if you compact gardening within permaculture principles like we're doing now. And ultimately the whole concept behind this is just being able to actually get out there and have like an area that is extraordinarily high in oxygen, so that if you are doing any workout or any labor or anything like that as well, if you've got family members as well that just want to be outdoors for a bit, instead of going on like a hiking trail where, South Africa is a pretty rough place in a lot of ways. Like I cannot over exaggerate that. I cannot overemphasize how crazy it is. Yeah.
J9, we are talking about plants, not political turmoil, sir. This is plant talk today. This is how you beat political turmoil, by being able to feed yourself. All right, 2 questions for you, Guardian. About roughly how big is the space that you've got all that in, and then how long have you been working it?
I can show you directly. I'm going to climb up the slide over here.
The one thing that annoys me about your garden is I want to see like a parrot or a monkey somewhere. I don't know why. In my head, it just seems like you need parrots and monkeys everywhere.
Parrots and monkeys over there, brother.
Right.
Oh, trust me, we have plenty of parrots. We have plenty of monkeys. Like a lot of the vervet monkeys are quite familiar with the area, so we get a lot of them. And I don't know, man. I hope that throughout this tour as well, that you guys watching at home just get like a little bit of more of an understanding and idea of the fact that I've got to try and be as self-reliant as possible when it comes to a lot of this. I've got like several of the nut species as well for the proteins, and I just really have this whole area set out as a food forest idea. And basically just years of experience have led me to use a lot of the permaculture principles and ideas. Every single place that you find you don't want to cause mulch volcanoes ever like that. Like you don't want to stack it around. So you want there to be a little bit of spacing around it as well. But look at the soil, bro. That is like because of the mulching that's on top of it. So yeah, dude, just that's the like biggest recommendation that I have for anybody is to use correct mulch. use logs on the side of the pathways can be really beneficial. Like that's why these logs are here. And then I also put in dead logs, dead wood, for structural purposes. So passion fruits climbing up the logs that I put in here as well. And all throughout the garden, you'll find like logs like this. That's how one of the main log systems is all of the passion fruit that's crawling over here. You had a second question though.
How long have you been working it to get it done like that?
Took me like, I'd say about 18 months realistically, roughly about 18 months, bro. So in a year and a half. And this was me riding my motorcycle into town with my adventure motorcycle, my Honda Transalp, and riding into town and coming back with like big peach trees over my shoulders and like a whole bunch of fruit trees like on the tank, a whole bunch of shrubs and stuff, and bringing it all in through bike, bro. Just in the space of about 6 months, just bringing in everything in as much as I could. And also a lot of it comes down to and this is something that everybody can start at home as well, is just being able to grow small little species. Or when you eat some fruit, get that seed, because you're making a contract to nature when you're eating fruit. You're supposed to be taking that seed, repurposing that. And this is my newest little apricot that's growing over here as well, that grew entirely from seed, obviously right in the beginning, and just kind of utilizing the purpose of like of just being able to grow things for free is such an important thing too. And then looking around on Facebook Marketplace for people that are very, very cheap, edible perennial species, and learning as much as you can. So it took me about a year and a half, brother.
How does it work for starts for you guys over there? Do you have like greenhouses? Do you have like how much of your stuff is like store bought versus like just natural picked up somewhere or somebody gave you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So that's a very good question. I would say about half of my trees are grafted trees from nurseries. So about half of the species. But then if you're looking at things like pawpaws or papaya grown pretty much from seed as well. A large amount of the bananas as well. With the bananas, when you buy the bananas, you buy them like for relatively cheap, but you start creating more bananas from the original one that you had. When it comes down to a lot of the shrubs are grown from seed packets. I'll show you some of the seeds that I got this week, and this is just this week's seeds. I'll show you because I haven't put them in my heirloom seed vault yet. I'll show you real quick. Yeah, you are in.
Yeah, I want to get a pawpaw. They're native to the Ozarks. They're native to a lot of places in America, but they're native to the Ozarks. I just don't have any, and I don't know anybody local who does. But eventually, I will get some out here. I'll have a nice little pawpaw orchard.
Yeah, it's good too. I don't know with the frosting how I think that with the frost, I'm not sure if they are compatible with the region that you're in. But I think that
they're
if
native.
they are,
They're native around here. You can find them walking through the woods and stuff. I'm not sure exactly which variety of pawpaw it is, but
oh yeah, pretty much anyone, dude. Like as long as you're growing them, irrespective of which variety it is, it's still such a big thing. And the fact that your heart is like into the like gardening and shit already, like with permaculture, like that's what I wish more people had. Just the attitude of what can I grow from self-reliance principles. So I'm not going to go through each of these seed packets here, but I grow a lot of my stuff from seed, bro. This is just this week's haul. So this is the haul that I got this week. Also, I got a little bit more than I usually would because of the fact that we don't know what the crude oil price is going to do to the price of seeds, of food in general. So it's not a bad idea for everybody at home to stock up on this right now, just to try and get some extra seeds as well. And some of the things specifically, go for varieties and go for things that are like really good. Like radish is really good and it grows. It's a survival food. It's a survival crop, and it grows really well. You can actually eat the leaves of radishes as well as the radish plants. Just don't eat it to the point of killing the plants. And then like regular tomatoes, but make sure that they're like heirloom so that they're multi-generational. That's obviously like a really important thing. And then some of your annuals, like, yeah, I'm not going to go through. This is the last one I'm going to show you. The whole idea and principle. Oh, one more thing, just one more that I got to show you. So rocket is so good. If you can grow rocket grows damn fast, bro.
What is it? A type of lettuce?
Yeah, it's pretty much similar. It's got a lot of similarities to like wild rocket specifically is just like a herb, but you can complement so many different things that you're eating as well with them. You can throw them in salads, but the difference is that you can grow them with this is like the survival hack behind it, is rocket will grow. You can give rocket like a smallish container, and it will burst out with enormous amounts of like edible food for you. So high amounts of production and produce from a very small amount of soil. Ideally, just making sure that you're learning consistently and that you're willing to learn and that you're taking like a step in the right way when it comes to like being a lot more self-reliant and having the mentality and the grit. Look at like any sort of news, see all of the stuff that can stress you out, but instead of it stressing you out, you can genuinely just be like, okay, like I'm actually actively making the right steps to become more self-reliant, that I don't need to like worry as much when I read like a doomsday headline in the newspaper, because you know that you got yourself like sorted.
Rocket is arugula. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as edible flowers, other than the amaranth, do you have a stock of edible flowers, those kind of things, for pollinators, bringing in insects and also food? Take it easy,
Yeah,
Heinz.
that's a very good one. Edible pollinators are really important. There's a couple of them as well that I've got specifically in the garden, because they're not only good pollinators, but they are things that you can eat. For example, that nasturtium that I was showing you, the nasturtium is a really like incredible flower when it starts growing, and you can eat them as is, and it helps as a pollinator to your fruit trees. So nasturtium is like one of the most highest recommended crops that I'd actually recommend somebody growing as well. So nasturtium is really good, and then you also get like several other varieties when it comes to that. Like some of my favorites are the sweet Elysium that I was speaking about. So sweet Elysium is also like a very small white flower that I was showing you. But sweet Elysium is also very, very good for you in terms of like the beneficial elements of it. Then you've got like lavender, which is very true what you said the other day. You got to be careful how much lavender you're consuming, bro. Like, yeah, man, it's actually quite interesting in terms of like getting that stuff sorted. Let me see. Just real quick for you, and I'll also explain to you like that a lot of those fruit trees, a lot of the pollinators that are out there are actually like a lot of them, like even this here is called cranberry hibiscus, which has an incredible flower and grows very fast. So the benefit of it is, walking you guys through here again, walking through here just for a moment, and I'll show you. So this is cranberry hibiscus. And cranberry hibiscus, which is also known as hardy roselle, is really good for just being able to eat. So you can like consume the leaves as much as you like, and it grows super fast. Like you can take a cutting of this. You can just take a small cutting. Obviously, you want to try and do it just below the node and make sure that you're also removing maybe one or two of these. But then you'll take this cutting like this, you'll put it in water, and it'll grow roots within like 2-3 days. And then you can like put it in a different position, and you will have consistent, like really good pollinators. Plus, you also got that. And then one more thing that I want to recommend to everybody. This over here was really hard for me to get, but it's a neem tree. Neem trees are one of the best organic pesticides that you'll ever come across. Neem trees are so good. Like neem itself is one of the most amazing things that you can have for your garden, because what that's basically doing is it's going to, like, as it produces as well, you can take a lot of the neem and you can spread it throughout. And it also acts as a deterrent for pests, even where the tree's growing. So that's why I've got them by my pistachio nut, the female and the male pistachio. Show you one more time over there. So yeah, bro, I love it.
Your backyard is basically the blueprint for the Jurassic Park greenhouse that I want to build someday.
You will absolutely love it, bro. The more that you get like involved within permaculture and food forests and copying like some of the same principles, the much like also here, small frangipani. Frangipani is actually toxic, the plant itself, but the flowers are edible. So you can actually eat those flowers. But yeah, bro, as soon as you start getting like more and more into it, it'll grow on you. And like over time, I'm telling you, bro, like it's my main obsession at the moment. I also enjoy my like whole fitness and adventure motorcycling and the hiking and all that. but primarily, more than anything else, just growing shit for my family, bro, and for the community in general.
Oh yeah. Do you ever plan on getting livestock or like birds like that? Is it with the goats and
Quail.
pigs? Yeah, any of those?
Quail specifically, because if you're in a really shitty situation and you need to locate from your primary residence where you're bugging in, if that's what you're doing during. I've actually got a call coming in here that I need to call back in about 2 minutes, if that's cool. Yeah, it's my.
I would like to have a lavender. You're gonna have to jump out and come back. We got to echo.
Right, let me
That's
grab
what
this.
sucks
But
about
this
YouTube.
might be a little bit of a
Somebody
lengthy
gets a phone call or a text message.
All right, let me jump quickly just for 1 minute, Hutch. You know what? I'm going to call him back, bro. This conversation that we're having at the moment is extremely important to me too, and I can give him a call back when we're done with this.
We can't hear you at all.
Sorry, I was saying that I was going to jump off on.
You are back now. Yes, this is
Can you hear me now?
gardening. I can't. Too many G's. There you go. There's his link in the chat, y'all.
Can you hear me now, bro?
Yeah, you are 5x5.
All right, man. Yeah, the question that you raised just before my CEO called.
Yeah, birds.
Oh yeah, so basically, I do plan on getting quail because the convenient thing about quail is that their requirements are relatively low, and if you run into a really terrible situation, you can grab a couple of the quail, head out into the middle of nowhere, and slowly start again there with quail. Whereas chickens would be much harder to do that with. So it is almost a portable livestock in that way. For the most part as well, they're also a bit more quiet than chickens if you're living in a bit of a residential area. So there's definitely pros to having. There's pros to ducks. There's pros to quail. There's pros to chicken. It just depends on what you're really having at that specific time, bro. But yeah, it's definitely something that I need to get. Specifically in the heart of the forest, I want to put some quail in there. But at this present time, I just need to. I've just been focusing on the plants and just making sure that everything's pretty much stepped up to that. I've also got a large amount of slingshots and slingshot rubbers and really good high quality slingshots for procuring wild birds if you needed to. It's not obviously recommended at the moment, but if things get really tough and you need to, why not have that around,
Right. Oh yeah. Chat. We got any questions for our guest up here? Throw them out in the chat. We've been on here for 52 minutes talking about plants and things. If they control your food, they control you. Oh, it gets a little chilly on the toes. Is there
Yeah, bro.
a plant you don't have
that
you're still searching for to make it feel like it's complete?
No, I had a whole big list and I've completed every one of them. So I had about 20 species that I really, really wanted to get, and just from scouring enough and looking at various nurseries. I've also imported some of them. So some of the species specifically, even if they're small and kind of growing at the moment, there's a big one that not many people here have that very prolific in your area specifically, which is the goji berry. And I've got small little goji berry plants growing now as well. And so yeah, somebody asked a very if I had to convert it to dollars, I have spent roughly $600 or maybe $500 on the full food forest over time, and that is over about 1.5 years. So, yeah, roughly about to be fair, about $600 at the most. That's because $600 in rand is a lot more than $600 is over there by you guys. Our economy is so messed up, man. It's bad, bro.
Got here late. How long is your growing season over there? You guys got an extremely long growing season, I'm assuming.
We don't get frost.
So you're
So
year
we
round
don't,
pretty much.
yeah.
Do
There
you
are
got a
still
lot of
plants.
plants that are affected by the light schedule over the temperature? Anything like that?
Well, not really, because it gets dark around 6 o'clock in winter and 8 o'clock in summer. So year round, the weather stays subtropical climate. We don't ever see snow. The worst thing about this country is definitely the corruption in like in the governmental level, and then also the crime rates, consistent crime in the worst way possible. Like our crime is off the charts. But yeah, in terms of growing seasons as well, it's just all year round. It's good. It's just that the government doesn't really like put in place the things that would actually kind of encourage a higher level of economy. So unfortunately, like there's a large amount of people that struggle immensely over here. So yeah, it's a whole thing, bro. That's part of the reason why people should be gardening as well, because gardening kind of gives you that resilience, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It is.
weasel
It is.
box year round.
I imagine it's got to be an extremely weird feeling to look into your backyard and be like, oh shit, I'm not going to starve. But knowing that you're in a place where there's so many people who have like you got the opportunity right there, but yet you're still, you know what I mean? You're still starving. One of those kind of things. Like that's my perspective from over
You
here.
know what's funny?
Homesteader in
The
America. I
government
see people in the city, and I'm like, you just grow your own food. Why can't you grow your own food? Get off the food stamps. Plant a fucking tomato. Something like that.
Bro, it goes really deep into that, man. It's funny. Korn 1999 mentions Opie Winston from Sons of Anarchy. Opie's a badass, bro. I love Opie from Sons of Anarchy, the show, dude. Opie's so cool, dude. So
Have to
it's
be
really,
the new
um,
Kratos in the God of War movie. I can't tell if those are his birds or my birds in the background. He froze up on us. And maybe he's back. Maybe. Nope, black screen. There he goes. We're having some technical difficulties with the YouTubes.
I had to switch back
There you
from
are.
mobile to, yeah, I had to switch back from mobile data to Wi-Fi.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, but ultimately, like if I could give anybody like some sort of, if I could, from all the experience I've gained, right, being here locally, um, I definitely have to say, like, just self-reliance is something that people look past often. Fortunately, most of the people in your chat and your community take self-reliance very seriously, so I respect that. But I will just say that, like, just start growing shit. Get used to what grows where the best and what you can use the things that you're growing for as well. How to store things for a long time, like how to make dried fruits so that they shelf for longer. Like, there's so many principles in terms of like learning consistently by having a garden. And you
Right.
mentioned something, a question about the garden as well before the person mentioned Sons of Anarchy there.
Uh, I forgot.
Sorry, bro. That is my fault, man. I apologize for that.
Oh,
What I'm gonna do is, if you want to have a chat like this, like in a couple of weeks again or something like that, I'm super keen for that. I need to phone my CEO again because my CEO called me and gave me a bit of a missed call, so I don't want it to be too long. But this
right.
conversation did take priority at the time. And I hope you know what that means to me, bro. It really does. Like, I enjoy your community so much, brother. Like, it's so much, like, when it comes to just like a good environment, bro. Like, compared to what I usually like surrounding myself with in real life. I don't like the whole silver spoon shit. A lot of people that are born and raised and they don't have to deal with like some of the hardships to life end up being difficult for me to communicate with. I'll put it in the best way that I can. So yeah, always around your community, and I enjoy like the input that you guys have as well, and I always enjoy sharing stuff. Um, and I hope that everybody does their final preps as best as possible, because we don't know, like right now is a very static situation, so we don't know what's really coming down the road. And I hope that you guys enjoy the tour of the food forest too. I really always appreciate the community, bro. So yeah, much respect to you, dude. I got a lot of time always for your community, and
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do this again once I've actually got some green to show myself. That way it kind of evens out a little bit. What up, Carl? All of y'all. But yeah, you are a brother. You know you're always welcome here. You know what I mean? Our schedules just never line up, but anytime, man. Anytime.
yeah, bro. Say what's up to Backwards for me when you speak to him again. And yeah, just much respect to everybody in chat. Thanks for being here and for engaging. And we'll definitely catch up again soon, brother.
Hell
America.
yeah, appreciate you. Anytime, man. Anytime. An hour on the dot, y'all. That's how you do it. Hell yeah. Subscribe up to Guardian. He is solid fucking people. I've known Guardian or we've known of each other for years, all the way back since the Homestead Oz days. You know, when we were on panels with them in the first year. We uh, we never connected as friends and conversated until about 2 years ago, because I thought his crowd was bougie bitches. Not gonna lie, you know what I mean? Then I talked to him. He talked to me. Now it's my fucking brother. You know, Guardian is the shit. All right, y'all. That'll pretty much do it. Unless y'all got anything else, we're gonna go ahead and hit the button and get out there and get some shit done. An actual live this morning. Craziness. So, all right then. Go fucking do something, y'all.